I'm James Swinney, and here is your morning market brief. As always, we first begin overseas with the major Asian Pacific markets once again on the downside. This has Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index down roughly 2.5%. European markets also sharply lower this morning on reports of a Greek referendum, and U.S. stock futures are pointing sharply lower ahead of the opening bell. Now, the big news of the day: Greek Prime Minister George Papandreou has said that Greece will indeed hold a referendum to approve austerity measures and the European Union bailout figures. This therefore causing the European markets to sell off today, and the German finance ministry has stated that it expects a second Greek bailout by the end of 2011. Meanwhile, the European debt market is showing worrisome signs this after Italian 10-year bonds widened to 6.2% today. In Asia, Chinese PMI figures fell to a reading of 50.4 for the month of October. This from a previous reading of 51.2. That is its lowest level since February 2009. A reading below 50 indicates contraction. And in the UK, the economy grew roughly 0.5% in the third quarter. This is slightly above expectations, calling for a 0.3% rise. However, this strong figure does come after the Bank of England expanded its austerity measures last month. Meanwhile, in the United States, ISM manufacturing data for the month of October and construction spending for September will be released at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Consensus is calling for a rise in the manufacturing index to a level of 52 and a 0.3% month-over-month change in construction spending. Now, in corporate news, Credit Suisse reported a 12% rise in its third quarter net profit figures to roughly 683 million Swiss francs. Meanwhile, the bank did announce that it will cut an additional 1,500 jobs, this after cutting 2,000 jobs in July, and will scale back its investment banking operations. Meanwhile, federal regulators have disclosed that as much as $700 million in customer money has gone missing from MF Global Holdings, which did file for bankruptcy yesterday. And in earning news, Pfizer reported adjusted earnings of 62 cents per diluted share on revenue of $17.2 billion. Meanwhile, Metro PCS posted a 10% drop in its net income figures to roughly $69 million. And CNOOC Ltd, China's biggest offshore oil producer, is still in talks to purchase BP's stake in Pan American Energy LLC for roughly $7 billion. This despite missing its November 1st trade deadline.